Happy Sunday, guys. Today's going to be somewhat of a different video. Kind of, not really, but we are nearing the end of our season of Lent. This last week is known as Holy Week, a time of solemn observance for Christians commemorating the Passion of Jesus Christ, which is the period in his life encompassing his suffering, arrest, trial, and death on the cross. So there's a lot of key aspects, events that lead up to the death and resurrection of Jesus. For one, today is Palm Sunday. It remembers when Jesus entered Jerusalem riding a donkey, greeted by crowds, waving palm branches and shouting, "Hosanna." It means save us, expressing the people's hope in Jesus as the Messiah. In today's reading, that is Luke chapter 19, 28 through 40. The gospel is a little different, so I'll go over that in a bit. But for now, Luke reads, Jesus proceeded on his journey up to Jerusalem. As he drew near to Bethphage and Bethany, at the place called the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples. He said, "Go into the village opposite you, and as you enter it, you will find a colt tethered, on which no one has ever sat. Untie it and bring it here, and if anyone should ask you why you are untying it, you will answer, 'The master has need of it.'" So those who had been sent went off, and found everything just as he had told them. And as they were untying the colt, its owner said to them, "Why are you untying this colt?" They answered, "The master has need of it." So they brought it to Jesus, threw their cloaks over the colt, and helped Jesus to mount. As he rode along, the people were spreading their cloaks on the road. And now, as he was approaching the slope of the Mount of Olives, the multitude of his disciples began to praise God aloud with joy for all the mighty deeds they had seen. They proclaimed, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest." Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples." He said in reply, "I tell you, if they keep silent, the stones will cry out." The word of the Lord. So, Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey to fulfill an Old Testament prophecy, Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9, and to publicly declare himself as the Messiah, a humble king of peace, not war. Zechariah 9:9 states, "Rejoice greatly, see your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, lowly and riding on a donkey, on a colt, the foal of a donkey." Now, about this prophecy. Zechariah lived and wrote his prophecies around 520 BC. And Jesus' entry to Jerusalem, considered the fulfillment of this prophecy, took place around 30 AD. The difference is roughly 500 years. Kind of crazy, right? I've known the odds of a messianic prophecy being fulfilled are astronomically impossible, but I did some research and check out these specifics. The probability of Jesus fulfilling merely 8 of the 60 major prophecies is 1 in 1 quintillion. Not billion, not trillion, not quadrillion, but quintillion. The Old Testament contains 60 major prophecies and 270 ramifications about the Messiah. Jesus fulfilled every single one of them. The probability of Jesus not being the Messiah, Son of God, King of Kings, and Lord of Lords is just mathematically impossible. So, why a donkey? You might think. Riding a donkey rather than a horse was a deliberate choice that symbolizes peace and humility as the Messiah, the one who would bring salvation and peace, as opposed to the image of a conquering king on horseback. Today's gospel is Luke chapter 22, verses 14 through chapter 23 up to verse 56. So it's like an entire chapter that we're reading there. And that just goes a little more ahead and all the way up to the death of Jesus. I will only cover small parts at a time because it gets broken down anyways throughout this week's readings, which I will try and cover. But if you kind of want to know the whole story, then go read it. I definitely recommend it. I would go crazy trying to break everything down, and that would also make this video an hour long, when I think 10 minutes is already too long for our fried attention span. But if you end up reading it and have trouble understanding anything, just reach out. I'm more than happy to help. Again, that's Luke chapter 22:14 all the way up to chapter 23 verse 56. So that's going to be all I have for you guys today. Again, I'm going to try to make a video for Wednesday and Friday, and then Easter Sunday. If not, I'm going to put something out so that you're somewhat informed of what's going on and why those days are so special. So that's all I have for you guys. I will see you guys on the next one.